Deep in the forests of Maine, there was a town so forgotten that it no longer appeared on maps. Pine Hollow. Years ago, the town had been abandoned overnight, leaving behind only rotting houses, rusted street signs, and a silence so heavy it pressed against the skin. The pine trees surrounding the town were so dense that the sky was barely visible, and when the sun set, a thick fog slithered out of the woods and crept into the streets. The wind carried with it strange whispers that sounded almost like human voices. 21-year-old Emily, a college student, had come to photograph this ghost town. With her was her childhood friend Josh. As they left their car at the entrance, the last rays of sunlight glinted off broken windows, and the air carried the musty scent of dust and decay. Emily lifted her camera toward the crooked sign that read, "Welcome to Pine Hollow." Just then, a faint sound brushed against their ears, carried by the wind, a muffled whisper, "Don't go." The town was eerily still, its empty houses leaning like tired skeletons. Most of the street lamps were broken and rusted, and the few intact ones flickered as if unwilling to stay lit. Dusty windows gave the unsettling impression that someone might still be watching from inside. The pair stopped in front of the old schoolhouse. Its door creaked open with a long, drawn-out groan, releasing a breath of mold and rot. Inside, desks lay overturned, and on the chalkboard, two words remained scrawled in faded chalk. "They are here," Emily whispered nervously. Who could have written that? Josh muttered, "Maybe the townspeople," but his voice lacked conviction. Emily spotted a crumpled paper on the floor. She smoothed it open and froze. It was a child's drawing. Stick-figure children gathered around a tall, black-eyed shadow. The children's faces were blank, but the shadow's face was drawn with such detail it felt like it was staring right back at her. As the night deepened, the town seemed to close in around them. Emily's camera sputtered with static, and their phones refused to work. Suddenly, one of the old street lamps buzzed and flickered to life. Beneath its glow stood a silhouette tall, impossibly thin, its edges blurred like smoke. Emily grabbed Josh's arm, whispering, "Did you see that?" But when Josh looked, the figure was gone. Then, drifting from the forest, came the sound of children laughing. Light, cheerful laughter, but in this empty town rang like a taunt. Emily's voice trembled. "Josh, someone's watching us." They tried to leave, but every path led them back to the same place. On the rough bark of the pine trees were deep carvings that read, "Run before they whisper your name." Emily's stomach tightened. A soft buzzing filled her ears, growing clearer with every second. At first it was nonsense, but then the whispers shaped into words her own name. "Emily, Emily." It was as if dozens of voices were breathing into her ears. Panicked, she ran. Josh called after her, but his voice suddenly cut off. She spun around. He was gone. His flashlight lay flickering on the ground, its beam trembling against the dark. Gasping for breath, Emily stumbled toward the old church at the edge of town. She pushed the door open, and a rush of air made the hundreds of candles inside tremble. The entire interior glowed with flickering light, but what froze her blood were the walls. Every inch was covered with children's drawings. They all showed the same thing, the black-eyed shadow towering over smaller figures. But in the latest drawings, a new face had been added, Emily's, her own terrified features sketched in childish lines. The whispers swelled until they were deafening, and from the rows of candles, the shadow began to emerge. Its form was human, yet not. Its face could not be seen, only the endless black of its eyes. Emily stumbled backward, her camera slipping from her grasp. It hit the ground and continued recording. The image shook as her scream cut through the silence.